21 minutes before 6 o'clock, that's the time here on Capital FM. You heard songs coming in from Lomwe, and this one is a song called Nyao Killer. So we were sorting out a few technical issues, and it seems we'll be able to have Elo in a minute from now. You know, technology, but it's gonna be all good. Looks like Lomwe is finally online. Good evening, Elo.
Hey,
Zawino, did I say? You're live on Capital FM.
All the way.
All the way from South Africa. How are you, my guy?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah, it's been a minute since you talked to Malawians. I believe this is going to be an interesting
long
chat.
Time.
Very long time.
Long time. I don't know how many years, but I haven't touched down in Malawi for a long time, but I'm always connected. I'm always connected, like you're saying, via technology. Technology. I was listening there, yeah. But it's a good vibe. It's a good vibe, and yeah, man. No, I mean, let's have a little bit of some good vibes right now. I always like to catch up, whether it's the podcasts or on the radio stations. I'm always ready for that.
Mm-hmm. So, hello, we're going to have a multi-dimensional conversation. We're going to talk about your experiences in Malawi as a radio personality back in the day. And, of course, we're going to be talking about you as a rapper, but also as someone that represented Malawi at the 60th edition or the 60th season of the Big Brother Africa back in the day. But for a start, I mean, what excited you most about being on radio back in the day?
To be honest, I think my inspiration came from being a fan of some of my favorite radio shows. I remember I had just finished, Form 4 back then, and I had my favorite show that I used to listen to on the radio. It was a hip hop show, and it only came on the weekend. And by that time, there wasn't a lot of Malawian hip hop artists. I think it was only Real Elements and a few other ones. The likes of KRT. It was a very rare thing. So I had always been a fan of the music and the genre. So at that time there was you call it what was it? Was it Black Life or whatever? You had those variety shows and Teen Time and things like that. Those are the kind of the things that were happening as far as the music culture was concerned. They call it urban music in Malawi, but it's advanced and developed since then. But yeah, I was a big fan of the radio shows. The presenters back then, if you remember, I think there was only 2 private radio stations that had been introduced to Malawi. There was FM 101 and Capital Radio soon after that. So I was just inspired, just to be in the music scene. I made my first song at Gomonda's studio. I think Mr. Gomonda was the only guy in Blanta that had a studio where guys would go and record at that time, apart from Real Elements. I recorded my first song, as I mentioned on my Rumors of War song. I said that, I was around a young age at that time when I recorded my first song. And it happened to be played on the radio on Hit or Miss, the show that was hosted by Code Sangala back then, So from then on, I was like, wow, I can hear myself on the radio. And then, and after that, I managed to make it through an audition later on when I finished my high school. And yeah, I was taken as one of the new presenters and ended up actually hosting the very same show that I used to be a fan of. So the rest is history. And yeah, music was just something that I was very interested in. Even in high school, my variety show, I went to boarding school where I finished off my Form 4, and we didn't have radios or even gadgets you could use. You could only beat up the desks. You have one guy is using the desk as a drum. Akumenya ndiba spoon ya bujeni au cafeteria aja kumenya maspoon au cafeteria aja kumenya madesk aja ngadi beat. That was the entertainment back then. That was boarding school. So ever since then, I was always into it. I was entertainment prefect at my high school. So since then, onwards, the rest is history. I've been a fan of the whole media circle, the media industry. As you know by now, I've almost touched every corner of the media industry. I rotate from presenter to a DJ to a rapper to even like making my own music in the studio. So yeah, man, I love the game. I love what I do, even if they didn't pay me for it.
That's fantastic. Now, let us switch a little bit from talking about your time on radio and music. Let us talk about something that put you on the map. Something that made the continent to know that Malawi has got a guy called Tendai Namate, has got a guy called Elo. Can you, yes. Can you tell us, about your journey representing Malawi in Big Brother Africa? What was the most significant thing about that experience?
I've got a background story for all of these moments, and that's why I love to do these dynamics with the interviews, because you can't say all of these things in the music and all of that. So the way it happened was that I was basically doing my radio show, and I had to report on the latest in terms of like, there's Big Brother auditions now, and this is the latest, guys. If you want to audition, go to such a place. And I think this time around it was like, I think it was Rouse Hotel, where they were doing the auditions for Blantyre during that time. So they had a station for auditions, I think in Lomwe and Blantyre. So I actually went there live to actually report on the latest and what's going on. And the crazy thing is, when I went there to report about the auditions, I ended up actually like, what? Let me let me see what happens. Let me fill in these forms before I go back to work, and tell people on the radio about what's going on with the auditions. I filled out those forms, and funny enough, I ended up going through the whole process. They had three stages at that audition, where you go through one room to the next room and to the final room. And if you make it from one room to another, that means you are passing those stages. I made it to the final room, and it was very straightforward. People ask, what's the strategy about Big Brother? Well, I think in the auditions is very, very quite simple. Being yourself, they can tell that this person has a certain vibe or whatever. People used to think that maybe, no, they only take people from this radio station or whatever, but it's not like that. I think it's just about, your personality, and they think like, okay, this guy, we put him in the house, he's going to bring something, a vibe or, a certain thing. And, so I managed to make it through the rooms. And, I remember quite correctly, the type of questions that they asked. One of them in the final room that they asked me was, why should you being Big Brother? And the other question was, tell us an interesting story to make us laugh about something that happened in your life or whatever. So I told him one occasion where I tasted tequila for the first time in my life and all of that stuff. So it was a funny story. But at the end of the day, they just want to hear you speak and hear how you articulate, and they just want to hear your vibe. End of the day, whatever it is that you tell them.
Fantastic.
So I managed to make it there. And it was crazy because I got the phone call to say that they are taking me on, and they're booking a flight for me to go to South Africa. While I was about to do my radio show, I was in the library collecting my music together. And people didn't get it why I was like, basically celebrating. They were like, "What's going on? What's going on? Who are you talking to?" But I had to keep it a secret. That was what they told me, so I couldn't tell anybody until the final moments. Mm-hmm. And that was interesting because I would be chilling with guys, and we were talking about, hey, who do you think is going to Big Brother this year from Malawi? And I'm chilling with the guys, and I know who is going. I know it's me, but I couldn't let them know, like, by the way, guys, So I'm like, I wonder who's going. Let's see what happens. But who do you think is going to be? I don't know. So ended up, man, I made it through, and the rest is history. But the most significant moment, I think, for me was the fact that I managed, even though without winning the money, I had highlights, and the highlights with like Zeus. We had the freestyle battle. It happened that they brought in a lot of like moments where you have to deal with like where you can showcase your talent. So I managed to showcase my talent of rap, and a lot of people didn't know that I could do that. Even the people watching, they were surprised, like, oh, this guy is battling Zeus, who is a well-known musician already. When he came in, people already knew him as a rap musician in Africa. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy, he can rap, and the rest is history, because after the show, me and Zeus, we end up, doing a mixtape together, and Double Wowzer ended up going back the next year to perform at the Eviction show. And yeah, man, so that was, for me, that was very significant, apart from people winning the money, but I think it's about the moments and the highlights. And, people don't forget those kind of moments. That's the beauty of TV. People see your face, they don't forget it,
Yeah, fantastic. Now, it's just unfortunate that we have got a limited time, but I wouldn't let you go without us touching a little bit about your rap career here in Malawi. And whenever people talk about Lomwe, they usually associate with one of the most hot beef moments in the history of Malawian rap music. I mean, you have been involved in a high-profile beef with Tay Green. Can you share some insights into what exactly sparked the conflict between you and Tay, and how did that shape your approach to the industry? What really happened for you to, beef with Tay?
I always love these moments where I can clarify, because nanga antama kalandi maganizo yao kodi magayizo awazilamba banje kodi ase akodi azilakhala banje, you know what I'm saying? So it's always very funny and interesting for me to be on the outside and just listening to everybody's conversation of what they think is the cause or what happened and the story. I'm like, wow, if this guy's really new. And yeah, but it's just a shame that we don't have enough time. If it was a podcast, then we could have gone into all of the details. But end of the day, it was just about, it was just like, like me basically observing the culture, and when it comes to hip hop, doing what hip hop is all about. And you'll see that one of the foundations of hip hop, I mean, it's a competitive genre. It's like a sport almost, and beef is one of the cornerstones of hip hop. People be in the street freestyling, BIG with freestyle, and compete with someone. If you saw the movie with Eminem, 8 Mile, that's what it's about. It's about freestyling or rap battles and things like that. Even in Big Brother, I did the rap battle with Zeus. It's a competitive thing. So, but anyway, to cut the long story short, the way it happened was that there was Taps Bandari came back from England, and he was a hot Malawian producer. And then he came back to Malawi, and he basically wanted to make an impact. I was at the radio station FM 101, and my boss made the record label with Taps Bandawi, and I was one of the guys that was like introduced to Taps by my boss to say that, hey, these guys these my presenters at my station, they also do music, and with my son Theo Thompson, blah blah blah. And then I get introduced to Taps Bandai. He gives me some productions. He gives me a CD with beats, instrumentals. Yeah, man, I want to get on the Malawi industry, so make a song. There's some instrumentals in here. So I chose one of the instrumentals. I came back to the studio, came up with a composition for the song. I called it Focus on Africa, because it was like a play on words. There's the BBC Focus on Africa, but I said, why can't we make a song and have it from the words of an African, the whole focus on Africa. So I came up with that concept. I even got Passoji Garibo to do the chorus and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, it was like when I went back to the studio to finish my verses, the song, and Taps Bandari was telling me, oh, this guy came through the studio, Tay Green came to the studio, he was freestyling on this song, blah, 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 but we're not going to use it, he was just playing around. Next thing, I go back to the radio station the next day, I haven't finished off the song, I'm hearing one of my colleagues on the radio, in the production room, I put on the live radio, he's telling me, hey, he's introducing the song, oh, it's a brand new song. By Taps Bandari, just coming back from the UK. It's a song called Focus Africa with Tay Green, featuring Passoji Garibo. I'm like, what's going on here? This is my song. But anyway, cut the long story short, Taps calls me, later on to say, after the song played on the radio, so like, hey, sorry, my man, let's make a remix, because that's the song I want to make everybody on the Malawian rap scene, do a remix of the song, all of that stuff. He apologized, whatever. But I never got any word from this guy, Tay Green. Somebody that I was promoting even on the radio with my friend Drew on all of the shows when he came back to Malawi that time, So it was very disrespectful to me to say that you don't even acknowledge or even ask my permission, like, hey, I want to use your song. I want to buy it from you or what? I want to use your song. You can be the songwriter. or acknowledge that I, you know, wrote the song and produced it and things like that. So I never got any phone call from him, and I felt like, okay, you know what, I'm used to this because it's a competitive thing. I did Rumors of War. The same actual night that I was at the station, I heard that song, you know, on the radio. I wrote the verses, 3 verses to Rumors of War. I recorded them at FM 101. I mixed the song myself. Then the very next day, Kenny Clips, rest in peace, he plays my Rumors of War song. And then, you know, the rest is history. You know what happened after that. So that was explanation of how exactly things started.
Okay.
And,
so would there be a chance for you guys to reconcile? Would you be happy to, you know, make amends with Tay Green and perhaps just bury the past and let it be water under the bridge, and then you reconcile as guys, and then, you know, you make life move forward? Would you be willing to have a reconciliation of Tay Green?
Yeah, but I would have to be approached. I would have to be approached on that situation. I wouldn't be the person doing the making the piece. You know, to me, I don't think that for me, there's nothing personal. I just did the music, and I never did another song about it. You know, I just did the mixtape. I left it. That was like a long years ago, but I still get like situations whereby someone is throwing jabs, you know, and on social media, you know, throwing certain sly jabs as if like something is still ongoing, you know. But for me, I only did the music and left it as the music and leave it to the fans. But for me, it is off my chest. I took it as a music competition. I took it as a hip hop competition, you know, and I left it at that. Nothing personal to me. Like if I meet the guy, it's not like I'm going to like, you know, put on my gloves and, you know, and let's go. No. For me, it was just like, okay, let's see who can rap better than the other, who can do better verses. The same way I did a rap battle with Zeus in Big Brother, and then we ended up doing a mixtape together. You know, nothing personal. I was like, it's a competition. Let's compete. You know what I'm saying? So, but I would never be the person to approach the situation. I would have to be approached and to say like, hey, here's what we can do, Lomwe. You know, let's do this, that. You know what I'm saying? So until then, yeah, basically that's the situation and how I see it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, maybe if there's an offer on the table, you see boxers, you know, they you know, the Mayweathers and all them, they make up a situation whereby everybody makes something out of it and entertains the crowd. You know, after that, the guys they're chilling. You know, they're chilling. How we entertain the guys? All right, what's next? You know, things like that. So there would have to be an offer on the table for me.
Fantastic. So, Lo, it's been a pleasure having you here on Capital FM inside the Traffic Jam Show. Thank you very much for making time to talk to us. Thank you very much, my guy.
Likewise.
Yeah, you have a good evening, and do keep it capital, my guy.
Anytime.
Thank
the
you.
Traffic Jam with Victor, man. Big up, bless up.
Thank you very much, bruh. It is a minute to 6, and coming through at 6 o'clock is our 6 o'clock news bulletin. You heard it for yourself there. I've just had a chat with Lo. So Lo is a Malawian rapper who's currently based in South Africa, and he represented Malawi at the Big Brother Africa, the 60th season, and we wanted to center much our conversation match on the beef he had with Tay Green, but unfortunately because of the technical challenges that we had, we couldn't take the conversation beyond 6 o'clock, as at 6 o'clock we shall have our 6 o'clock news bulletin. So we had a very good chat, and I believe you really have enjoyed the chat. I am Victor Daffrece, and all you have to do is keep it capital.